Yep, you're on.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining today's session. And a little bit about me, I'll be quick. This is Jyotsna Bitra. I go by the name JB. I am a marketing champion and Golden Hoodie recipient. I'm a co-leader of the Salesforce Marketers Group Phoenix and also the founder of Impact Force and MC Learning Camp. MC Learning Camp is all about marketing cloud boot camps and certification boot camps. You can find all the information when you join the Slack channel. So now we have a Slack channel for that, and all communications will be managed on that Slack channel. And I do write blogs occasionally that are all on the jbitra.com. And these are few handles to connect with me, LinkedIn, Twitter, and this is the YouTube channel where all the recordings from previous sessions are all uploaded here. All the boot camps conducted earlier are also uploaded to this YouTube channel. And this is my Trailblazer ID. And I'm more active on LinkedIn. If you have any questions after this session, or if you need any guidance, you can reach out to me. And today's session is all about the Journey Builder. So this is going to be a lot of information, and this particular session is going to cover all the basics of the Journey Builder. So Journey Builder is the powerful automation tool that is available in the Marketing Cloud. So we can cover all the advanced scenarios as well in one session. So this session covers all the basic configuration, basic features and components that are available within the Journey Builder. So today we're going to look at what a Journey Builder is, the different use cases, when do we use the Journey Builder, and the different types of journeys, the templates that are pre-built and are readily available. And we'll also look at the journey dashboard and canvas and the various activities that are available and how we configure the journey. So when we create the journey, what are the different settings and configuration options that are available? And also few other configurations we will look in detail. And at the end, we'll have the brief demo on how we can set up a basic journey. And firstly, journey. So when think of a journey, we think of a person traveling from one location to another location, or it could be a path an individual takes. Let's say talking about my Salesforce journey, it could be something what I have done, what I have achieved along the way, and so on. In the Marketing Cloud in specific, a journey or a customer journey is something a customer takes to become more engaged or to become more active and committed to the company's brand, to the products that the company is selling. So whatever the steps that a customer can take can be set up as a journey. And customer journey is, to be more specific, it's all about all the interactions that a customer takes throughout his interactions with the company's brand. And touch points or the different actions a customer takes. Let's say if I am the customer, I may engage with a particular brand by clicking on an ad or signing up on their website, or I can read some white papers, or I can go to their commerce site and make a purchase or abandon the cart, or I want to return an item to the store, purchase it online and return it in the store, or if I have any issues, I want to talk to a customer agent. So there are many touch points that can be involved throughout a customer journey. And also as a customer, and each customer's behavior is different. So somebody prefers to read an email or do some interactions on the from the browser, or somebody may prefer to do it from the mobile device, or some may prefer to do it on the social channels, from the in the form of email messages, or in the form of text messages or push notifications, or there are many ways that a customer can be engaged with a brand. So given that we have so many devices and so many technologies that are in place, social media options as well, so there could be a lot of touch points involved across the customer journey. And each customer's behavior is different. Now, one person may prefer one channel over the other channel. So how do we engage the customer across the channels that they prefer, across the devices that they are they are watching, they are reading their communications. So it's Journey Builder is all about personalizing those communications. So in order for the customer to make them feel connected to the brand, the communications, the touch points with them should be more personalized. So they get the feeling that they're not interacting with the machine like an automated message they get. In order to make them feel connected, we have to make those communications personalized. So Journey Builder is all about personalizing the customer journey. So depending on an action that a customer takes, the next step, the next communication that goes to the customer can be personalized. So there are a lot of things that we can do within the Journey Builder where we can check where we can check all their engagement and then decide all their next communications. Amit, can you confirm if you're able to see the screen, the presentation screen?
Yes, we can see.
Okay. And just a brief overview of some of the key terms that we will be using. So as we have some data about a customer, the data can be classified into the contact data, behavioral data, and the engagement data. Contact data is something that is more specific to the customer, a subscriber or a contact. So it could be the first name, last name, the region they are in, the membership status, and so on. And behavioral data is something related to the person's interest and likes. So if they're more into the sports gear, and or if they're looking for the winter wear, or they are in a region where it's so in the tropical region and they may plan for outing. So it depends on the customer's likes and dislikes, what could be their product interest and so on. The engagement data is all about how the customer interaction has been. So how their engagement has been. Have they opened the emails, or did they click on any of the emails, any bounces that happened with the previous email sent, and so on. So this is the different type of data that we have and we collect on the customer along the way. So we can use this data, which is already present in the system that we have, and we can use this to personalize their further communications. Let's say we have their gender information as male or female, then we can target them with specific products that are more suitable to their gender. If it is a man, then we can send some product information about the shoes, men's shoes. If it is a woman, maybe some accessories or some something that are more relevant. And if we have the behavioral data collected, like let's say they express their interest that they want to receive communications about so and so items or so and so products are the ones that they are interested in. So using that data, we can personalize some of our communications. And engagement data, using this data, now we can check with how engaged they are with their with the previous communications that we have sent. Let's say we have sent an email yesterday, and we can check their engagement, whether they have opened or not. And after 1 week, we can still check the status. And if they have opened, we can send further communications about the next level of communications. If not, then we can plan for other strategy. And Journey Builder is the Marketing Cloud's powerful automation tool. It helps us to design and automate the campaigns. So, and using which the customers can be guided through a series of interactions. It's a multi-channel. That means within the Journey Builder, we would be able to send email communications, SMS messages. We can send push notifications, and if we have the advertising studio also integrated, then we can create some ad audiences, or we can create some ad campaigns. We can push those contacts into the campaign, and we can involve communications across different channels. And the Journey Builder is also responsive, which means depending on an action that the customer takes, we can decide the next step, what path that we want to route them through. And within the Journey Builder, we do have some powerful capabilities where we would be able to set some goals and measure the performance and then change the strategy if at all required. This is a high-level overview of how a journey can look like. So these are all the different activities or different steps. So it could involve many different varieties of activities, which we are going to look in a few minutes. So it involves many activities, and a journey can be as simple as a single step, like sending an email and then done with the journey. And it could be as complex as involving many steps in between and many paths as well. And it could involve some decisions, some flow control activities, like depending on some attribute value. Let's say if the gender is so-and-so, then route this path. If the gender is so-and-so, then route through the other path, or the region, depending on the region, whether if they are located in a tropical area, so send this email. If they're in a humid area, then send another version of the email. So all these decisions can be made within the journey, and the journey can be further personalized. So let's say a contact enters this journey, they flow through all these steps. And whenever there is a flow control, like a decision split, if the region is so-and-so, if the contact matches that decision, that flow control, then they will be routed through the specific path. If not, the remainder will flow through another path. We will look at all these in detail. So this is just the high-level overview. And Journey Builder, it will be it will enable to send one-on-one messages at scale, and these are all personalized. And depending on the contacts attributes that we have, there may be the personal attributes or the behavioral or the engagement attributes, we can use that, and we can set some filter criteria on that, and set some different paths so the contacts can flow through different personalized paths. And using the Journey Builder, we can also set some goals, and whenever a goal is achieved, we can gauge the performance of the journey or a particular campaign by looking at how the goal has been achieved, the percentage of contacts who have attained that goal, and if you want to exit them from the journey, or if you want them to continue or not. So this goal analytics also can be set within the journey. And also, creating a journey is very simple. It doesn't need any development experience, no coding or nothing required. It is just a canvas where we will simply drag and drop the canvas activities, and then create the flow. And anybody can get started and create journeys. And these are the various use cases, just to give you an example of where all the places a journey can be created. So let's say a customer has, a company has identified a customer. So right from the awareness stage, so we reach out to the customers to create awareness of the brand. So as part of that, we may send some informational newsletters, or some information, or some other details to help them understand about a particular brand. And then throughout the acquisition, onboarding, engagement, retention, and advocacy, and throughout all the stages of the customer's life cycle, journeys can be created. Example journeys could be whenever somebody signs up, we can send them, we can engage them in a welcome journey, wherein whenever, as soon as they sign up, they get the initial email saying, thanks for signing up, and here's some information. And after a week, send them some of the information and encourage them to sign up for some membership, or sign up for paperless, or some auto pay, or some other events that happen. And also the journeys could be transactional as well. So as and when a customer does a purchase on an external website, so they can be sent an order confirmation, or whenever a shipment is ready to deliver, then they can be sent some reminder emails. And it could be across all the stages of the journey. So different journeys can be set up. And when we create a journey in the Journey Builder, there are 3 types of journeys available. So we can get started from any of these one. If this is just like we just want to send a single journey, or a single email, or an SMS, or a push message, then we can go with the single send journey. This is quick because the template also automatically pulls up, and we just we just assign the email, map the email that we want to send, and the whole journey template will be created for us. And if it is a multi-step journey, it could involve all different channels of an SMS message. It could involve different steps, different paths, and also different activities within it. So if the journey is going to be a complex one with so many interactions, and we want to personalize the journey along the way, then we could go with the multi-step journey. And single send journey is similar to the email studio single send. So from the email studio as well, we would be able to go to an email, preview that if it is rendering correctly, and then you would be able to send it the same way. This is the single send journey is similar to the email studio send, only for the exception that if it is within the journey, we would be able to include Einstein features like the scoring split or the send time optimization, wherein the customers can be delivered with the email when it is the appropriate time for them to read. Let's say I mostly read my emails in the evening, so Einstein it collects the data over the previous 90 days, and then it determines the best way that the customer is more likely to open the email. So using that details, it would send out the email at that particular time. So if it is a journey, then we could add more Einstein activities in the journey. And transactional send journey is whenever we want to send any transactional kind of message, when somebody orders something. So we want to use the API and transfer the payload to the marketing cloud and then kick off the journey right away, then we can get started with the transactional send journey. These are the right away readily available templates that we can get started. And there are some templates that are available within the marketing cloud. So we will also look at these in the demo section. So if we are planning for some journey for which the template is already available, we can look at these templates, understand how they're set up, especially for a beginner who is trying to learn creating journeys. I would recommend going into these journeys and looking at how these are set up, and it will also include some detailed help resources and what are the data entry sources, what are all the components that are involved in the journey. So it would be a best starting point to understand how different journeys can be set up. So if you have a use case and for which a template already exists, then we can just go right away into these templates and get started with those templates instead of starting from scratch and creating everything from new. And this is how a journey dashboard can look like. So I'll quickly go through this one. I will also cover this in the demo, including this in the deck, just in case if somebody wants to look at the slide deck later point of time. So the journey dashboard, on the left, we do have all the journeys organized in the folders. And we have this segmented as well, scheduled single sends or the recent sends, the transactional, and the folders. Now we can create the journeys and arrange them in the folder, and we can browse these folders as per the structure that we create. And here it's a list of all the journeys that we create, and we would be able to search all the journeys by the name. We just enter the journey name and enter. We would be able to get those journeys, and this is the status. So every journey that we create has a status assigned to it. So this section shows the status that the journey is in, and the next column is the performance. So this section has all the information about how many contacts have entered into this journey, and if we have set any goal criteria, it also displays what is the goal attainment percentage. So in the first journey here, it's 64%, and this is 20%. So it's a one place where we can see the goal performance of the journey as well. And this is the last modified, and using this down arrow, we would be able to do some simple activities on this one. And this is the filter. Using this, we would be able to filter the journeys that match the if it is a multi-step or single sign or transactional, and depending on the status we would be able to filter, and depending on the channel involved also we would be able to filter these journeys list that is displayed in here. Let's say in here in the dashboard we only want to see all the running journeys, so then I would go and select the status as running, and then I would see only the journeys that are running. And when we this pie chart, this symbol here, so when we click on this one, it displays the goal of the overall instance. So what is the high performing journey and the low performing journey and the goal attainment and all of the details. And we have this create journey button here, using which we can create a new journey. And on the top, we have these sections. Events, under the events we have the entry sources and mobile app events. So entry sources has a list of all the entries. If you want to save that entry source and want to use it, reuse it in the next journey, we could go here and use those. And all the entry sources that we use, that we set, like if we are using the API entry source, that will be saved here. So it will have a list of all the entry sources that's being used. And history gives a list of all the activities that happen within this journey builder and all the journeys. And templates, as I have shown in the previous slide, it displays all the templates that are available within the journey builder. And here's how the journey canvas looks like. So when we create a new journey, and this is the canvas, and on the left side we have all these activities. So we will go over in detail about all these components in here. The first one is the entry source. So as you see here, this is the canvas, and this is the area where we drag all these individual activities into this canvas, and we arrange them as per the flow that we have decided. So to start with the journey, if the journey has to be kicked off, something has to trigger the journey kickoff. So the context has to enter the journey. So we set that based on some entry sources. So we will look at the entry sources in detail here. So there could be many types of entry sources. Number one is the data extension. So data extension, if you have followed the previous sessions, data extension is simply a table with all the records that are related to your contact. So all those contacts that we want to inject into the journey, let's say we have those contacts in the data extension. So, and we want to have those contacts enter into that specific journey, then we will set this data extension as the entry source and select the data extension that we have defined. And API event, I'll go through this list. The first four are the ones which are like that happen in bulk. So whatever number of contacts that are present in the data extension, they will be injected into the journey. And Google Analytics 360 is when we have the Google Analytics account integrated, and we want to inject the audiences from that GA account into the journey. Then we will use this as the data entry. Audience Studio is when we have the Audience Studio integrated, and we want to pull those audiences into the journey. Then we will use that as the entry source. And audience is when we have the mobile connect list, and we want to inject all the members from that list into the journey. We will use this. These are all the bulk entry sources. So whoever is present in those sources, a data extension or the audiences, they will be pulled into the journey. And the next set are all triggered. So let's say API event. If something happens outside of the Marketing Cloud, or some trigger that kicks off the journey, let's say a person makes a purchase, and or a person meets a filter criteria, then they will be pulled into sorry, not a filter criteria. If person takes an action, makes a purchase, or returns something, or reschedules an appointment, so that can be created as an API event externally, and that can kick off the journey, and all those contacts can be fed into the journey. So in those cases, we will use the API event. And cloud pages is similar to a landing page that we create in the Marketing Cloud. And let's say somebody has used that cloud page and they have filled in their information. And whenever somebody fills in their information, we want to involve them in a journey and send them regular communications. So in that case, we would use that cloud pages option. So this is also triggered because whenever somebody fills in some information, takes some action on that cloud page, they will be injected into the journey. And inbound chat is when a mobile connect is configured and somebody replies to a specific keyword, then they will be injected into the journey. And Salesforce data, when we have the Salesforce integrated with the Marketing Cloud instance, and if some update happens in the Salesforce, then that can trigger the journey in the Marketing Cloud. So in those cases, we would use the Salesforce data. An event is when we want to add customers to a journey whenever they match a specific day. Let's say we want to send some reminders or some promotions or offers to a person on their birthday, then we can use this event data based on their birth date. So these are the different types of entry sources that are available, and the most commonly used one is the data extension. And whenever we use the data extension, it is recommended to have the clean data, and also any segmentation or any data management has to be done. That can be done outside of the Journey Builder itself before bringing the data into the Journey Builder, and Automation Studio can be used to refine the data. And these are the next set of activities. And these are all the different types of messages that can be sent, different types of communications that can be sent to a contact. So if the WhatsApp is integrated, we can send them a WhatsApp message, or the mobile studio is configured, then we can use the in-app messages, line messages, and push notifications and SMS. Inbox, SMS, and email. When email is the most commonly used, and it comes along with the Email Studio. And if Advertising Studio is also configured, then we would see these options as well. And we can pull these into the journey and involve them. We want to create some audiences in the Advertising Studio. So whoever contacts goes through that journey can be added to the audience. And also, if we want to create a campaign in the Advertising Studio, then we can use this activity. And these are all the different flow control activities. We will look at each of these in detail. So flow controls are essentially something which define the flow, how a contact flows through different paths in the journey. So these activities determine. And first set is the wait activities. As you see here, there are a number of wait activities. Wait by duration, wait until date, wait by attribute, and we have this wait until event, wait until chat response. Wait until chat response is available only when we have the WhatsApp is integrated, is enabled. So whenever somebody responds to a WhatsApp message, then this will wait until that response is received. And wait until event is used to wait until some event outside Marketing Cloud happens, and when that happens, it will continue with the next steps. And wait by duration, this is also by the regularly commonly used wait period. We can set the wait by duration. So let's say we have sent an email and we want to wait 1 week until we send the next communication. So we want to check if they have received the email, they have clicked or not. So we want to give them some time. We don't want to overwhelm with too many frequent communications as well. So once we send the email or a communication, then we can wait and then send the next communications. So this wait attribute, wait by duration, we can set how many days or how many weeks or months we want to wait. And we can also extend the wait duration. If we extend, then we can also set the time when we want it to progress. So let's say we have set the time is 10 p.m. So, and the wait by duration, it waited for 2 days, and on after 2 days, it will wait until this specific time to progress with the next steps. And wait until date, if we have defined date in mind. Let's say we have an event scheduled and we want to send an email just before the event date, one day before the event. So then we can set the specific date and time when we want to, until when we want to wait. And when that is reached, then the next communication, the next activities can be progressed. Wait by attribute. So if we have a date-based attribute in the data extension, let's say in the data extension, we have the contact information and we have their birth date, or we have the date when they joined, and that also can be used to determine their anniversary or something. So we have this date-based attributes in the data extension and we want to use that. So if by using that, we will wait, the journey will wait until the contact matches that attribute date, the date that is mentioned in the data extension, and when it is matched, then it will continue with the next activity. And wait until event is used when we want to wait for an existing API, and when that API event happens, then this can progress to the next step. And there are a couple of split and join activities also. These will also control the flow. If we have seen that Journey Builder is all about personalizing. So depending on the data that the contact have, or depending on how the engagement that the contact has, we can route them through different paths. So we can use these split activities to route them through different paths. Decision split, using this, we can set some filter criteria. As we have seen, if the region is equals to India, then route the contacts through this path. Or if the region is equals to US, then route through different paths. So that way, depending on some attributes that exist on the record, then we can set some filter criteria and route them through different paths. And random split is when we want to randomly split the contacts records and split them across different paths. An engagement split is we use it when we want to determine the engagement of a user and then route them accordingly. Let's say I have sent an email, and after waiting for some period, I want to check whether the customer has opened the email or not. If they have opened, I want to route them through path one, where they will receive the second version of the email. If they haven't opened it, they will receive another version of the email. So I can control all this using the engagement split. So the different types of engagement that we can check are the email opens, clicks, and bounces. An Einstein scoring split, the frequency split, and the Einstein send time optimization, or the Einstein features. And if we have the Einstein recommendations enabled, then we would be able to utilize these in the journeys. Einstein scoring split can be used. Using the scoring split, what Einstein does is it classifies each contact record as different personas, maybe like a window shopper or a loyalist, kind of. So depending on their persona, the different they can be routed through different paths. So using Einstein scoring split, we can say, okay, if the contact is a loyalist, then send this promo code. Or if they are just window shoppers, then encourage them with more product recommendations or something like that. So we could use that Einstein scoring split for that scenario. And frequency split is we want to segment the contact records based on their frequency engagement, how engaged they are. If they are less engaged, then split them and then route them through a path. If they're not, route them through a different path. And Einstein send time optimization is to determine when is the best time to send the message to a particular contact. So these are all Einstein features, and they can be all in a different session to cover in detail. So I just cover the basics of those. And another feature, the advanced feature in the Journey Builder, is the path optimizer. I will, in the next slide, we have more information about that. And the next activity we have is the join. So when we have the split activity which splits the path into two different paths, and then after the individuals go through different paths, and if they have the same path again, if they have the same set of activities again, they can be joined together using the join activity. We will look at all these in detail in the demo part. So this is just like the high level overview of what each activities are meant for. And the path optimizer, this is used to determine, to create different versions of the path. The path can contain different content, different frequency of the sends. Maybe wait for send 5 emails in one path, and in the second path send SMS messages and maybe 3 SMS messages, or include email and SMS. So we can set a path to be different, and like that we can set 10 different paths with different different steps in it. So the content can be different, the frequency of sends can be different, and the channels involved can be different. So we have 10 different paths, and we're going to check to measure, we're going to measure which path is doing best, doing better. So when we find the winning path, so which path does better, then we can finalize that path, and we can route all the contacts through the winning path later on. So this path optimizer is a advanced version of the A/B testing. A/B testing is only used to test the email versions, and this path optimizer in the journey builder is used to test different paths in the journey builder. And once the optimizing is done, so we can choose to automatically route all the customers, all the contacts through the winning path. And we can look at all the analytics here in the path optimizer. We can simply drag and drop the path optimizer activity in here, and in the one path we can set different set of activities, and in the second path we can set different activities, and we can add as many paths as 10 paths. And the next activity is the customer update. From within the journey builder, if we want to update an attribute in the data extension, then we can use this activity. So if you see in this journey here, we have a lot of update contact here, update contact, so many update contact activities involved. So this is typically used when we want to track the progress of the customer in a journey. Let's say I can set a flag attribute in the data extension, like a say 1 or 0. I can say received annual physical reminder version 1, then I would update as 1. I would set that as a flag, as an attribute in the data extension. And when they pass this email step, then I will right away update in the data extension saying they have received this email or they have met this criteria. And then after some time, I'm looking at some filter criteria and then updating again in the data extension. It could be a different attribute or the same attribute again. So if I want to track the progress of the customer and at a later point of time see how they are progressing or how the data has been changing, I can use this update contact activity. And I can use this to audit as well. So who went down a specific path and when they went. So this can be used for audit purpose as well. And it can also be used to exit a contact from one journey and enter them into another journey. So let's say in an update contact attribute, we set it up and then right away we exit them from the journey. So that can be a entry that can be set for another journey as an entry filter criteria. So when whoever has this data attribute value set, then they may be entered into another journey. Depending on the use case, we can use this update contact activity. And the next ones are the sales and service cloud activities. So as you see here, these are all related to the Salesforce objects. So the task, opportunity, lead, contact, case, campaign member, account, object activity, or convert lead. So these are all the objects that are available within the sales and service cloud. And using these activities, we would be able to interact with the data with the CRM data from within the journey builder. Let's say in the journey builder, we use this task activity, then we would be able to create a task in the Sales Cloud or the Service Cloud from within the journey builder and create an opportunity or create a lead contact. If the data is coming from an external API, and as and when the contact enters the Marketing Cloud, we want to create a similar record for them in the Sales Cloud as well, then we would use this to lead or contact record. Or if they have reached out and on 2 email communications, we want to create a case in the Service Cloud, we can use this. We want to create whoever members that are going through a journey, we want to add them to a campaign. We want to update the campaign members, we can use these campaign member activities. We can convert the lead, we can create the accounts, we can do all these activities. And for this, the prerequisite is that the Marketing Cloud Connect needs to be configured. So only then we would be able to operate on these activities. And these are all the different statuses the journey can be in. So whenever we create a journey, the journey will be in the draft mode. That means we are still working on the journey. And then when we are done, we activate it, it goes into the running mode. And the scheduled is when we are done with the journey and we have scheduled it to start at a specific time. And sent is when all the contacts in the journey are sent and they are all done, the journey is all done, then the sent. And stopped is when we stop the journey, deleted and cancelled, or when we delete the journey or cancel the journey, no longer want to use it. So depending on the status that a journey is in, there are different functions that are enabled on the journey. If it is a draft version, then we can edit the journey, but the journey wouldn't be running. It's still in the draft mode. And no contacts will be entered into the journey because the journey is not running. It's still in the draft mode. It cannot have any contacts entering in the journey. Only if it is running, then it will be active and it will be actively injecting all the contacts and all the records into the journey. And once a journey is active and running, it cannot be edited. Only emails that are mapped, they can be edited from within the journey builder. And finishing also the same, only email content can be edited and it will be active and running, but it will no longer inject any more audiences into the journey. It can have the existing audience, but it can no longer have any new contacts entering the journey because it's finishing. The status is finishing, and it will be done once all the contacts that are already in the journey or have exited the journey. And stopped is when the journey stops running and we would no longer be able to do any of these operations. Like we would not be able to edit or inject any contacts into that journey. And these are all more in depth. So I will take a pause here and briefly cover the demo of how it will all look in the instance. Let me share that screen. Okay, and this is my Marketing Cloud login. And in here, I have this journey builder and journey builder. And before that, as we are on the home page, we just logged into the Marketing Cloud, we see the journey templates. So this is an easy way if we want to get started with the journeys, creating the journeys which already exist in here. We can get started from here as well. And if we have any journeys that are scheduled or any journeys that recently run, it will all be listed in here. To go into the journey builder, I will click on the journey builder. And I see a question, when using update contact, how does it know which record is to be updated? So in the journey, each contact goes through a particular step. So when one contact goes through that step, that particular contact record in the data extension will be updated. I hope that answers your question, Akash. And this is the journey builder dashboard. And in here, we have a list of all the journeys listed in here. And if we have the folder structure defined here, we can look at them by the folders and list of all the journeys. And I can search on the journey names if I only want to look at specific journeys. And I can also filter the journeys based on their status or any other criteria. And if I have set any goal, then that will be listed here. And under the performance, I would see all the contacts, the number of contacts that have entered the specific journey. And also if goal is defined, then I would see what is the goal attainment percentage. So 3 people have met the goal criteria that is set, and that means 75 out of 4 entries, 3 has met the goal criteria, then it is 75% achieved. And these are the different statuses the journey is in, and the last modified date. And we can see create a new journey here. And under the events, we can see a list of all the entry sources. And this is a demo account which doesn't have much data. So it doesn't have any other engagement data. So it doesn't display anything here. But if we have the journeys running, and it would list out all the activities and the journeys and their status, and we would also be able to filter out and define the date range. So I would say some previous date. So I would get all the list of all the activities that happen. And here is the templates. I would go to a simple template. So as you see here, it has the detailed information. So when you're starting to learn about the journey builder, I would suggest to go check this area. So it displays all the information. So how a journey could look like. So event, anniversary send, event is when it's kicked off, when then anniversary date just falls on the same date, then the journey is kicked off, they're entered into the journey, and an email is sent. So all we need to do is take this journey and just map the event and the email. So this is much easier, so because the template is already in there. And if you want to look at any further information, all this additional information is here. And to get started, what is the information that we need? We need the customer anniversary date in the data extension, and we need one email and data. If at all in the email we have any personalization like first name, last name, or did we include anything, then that data as well is required in the data extension. So it has all the guidance steps. I can check out other advanced ones, intermediate, advanced. So the template is already in place. I just need to pull in these specific API events and the email and the decision split, how I configure, so I can get started with this. If I want to create one from scratch, I can go out and create new journey. So when we try to create a new journey, we have 3 options, whether we want to create a multi-step journey or a single send journey or a transactional send journey. So here you can say multi-step journey, and these are all the entry sources that are available. In here, you wouldn't see the Google Analytics 360 or the audience data because the audience studio is not available, and also GA is not enabled on this one. So you won't see all these options, and you would be able to simply drag and drop these things in here. So when you drag and drop one specific activity here, we need to define. So we have said we want to use data extension as the entry criteria, but we need to define which data extension. So you would go and select the data extension that is present in the system. So I would go and select one data extension. And if we want to filter any contacts based on some criteria, then we can define it here. I would simply select this one and say done. And here we have a list of messaging activities. So if you want to send an email, I would go and pull this email activity here. This is the email. And then If it is a journey template, we have all this configured. So we just need to map what email or map what data extension, because we have started from scratch. We are pulling and dragging and dropping everything onto the canvas here. And the flow is all we can set it as per our use case. So I want to send the email, and then if I want to send SMS after a wait of a certain period, I can do that. If I want to delete this, I can just delete it here. And advertising, if you want to create add-on audiences, we can pull in here. And these are the flow control activities. So there is one flow activity which already comes by default. We can click on this and change the setting on this. Right now it is waiting for 1 day. I can set it to 1 week. And after it reaches 1 week wait period, then I can set wait until 2:30 a.m. in the morning or something like that. I can delete these ones as well. And here you see this decision split. And decision split, from the data extension, we would be able to use any of the attributes. First name or region. Region equals so then I have set the decision split activity to region equals national. All the contacts that meet this criteria will be routed through the path 1, and all the contacts who doesn't meet that criteria will be routed through the second path. And that way we can add multiple paths as well. And after we have set the criteria for these ones, and any other remaining contacts which doesn't meet any of these filter criteria, if we want to route them through a different path, we can set it here. And then engagement split. So we can use this engagement split and see if the contact has done any interaction with the email communication sent. So if I want to use the engagement split, before that I should have sent them an email communication or any other communication, and there should be a wait period in between, because we don't soon after sending the email, we don't want to check the engagement. We need to give the customer some time to open the email or to check their engagement. So there should be a wait period included, and there should be a communication that should have been sent before this engagement split activity is used. So I cannot set this set because the email is not configured. So I'll go first and map the email for this one. And the email also should have been created in the system. If it is already present, we can select that email. If not, we can create the email here itself. And I'm going to the existing ones, the welcome email. And I select this one. I can also preview and test from within the journey builder itself. I don't need to go to the content builder or the email studio. I can just go from here within the journey builder itself and preview and send a test email, or make some changes to the content, or change to the attributes in here. And also on this one, we can configure the classification. If you want to change the subject or the delivery options, we can do all these things under this settings. And so we have the email configured, and after that we have this engagement split. I'm going to stop the screen share. Okay. Yeah, I think it is fine. So for the engagement split, so we have this email configured, then we can select this email. So this is the email that's been sent before. So we are checking the engagement on this particular email. And what engagement I want to check? I want to check on the opens. And done. So open welcome email. So welcome email is the one that I have sent in the previous step. And after a wait of 1 day, or I could even change it to 1 week. And then if they have opened it, then do something else. If they haven't opened it, then do something else. Maybe if they have opened it, then I will send further product recommendation email. Or if they haven't opened, maybe I would send them SMS message. It could also tell us that they're not actively checking their emails. And I would prefer to send them a text message. So I could choose, depending on the engagement, I could choose different mechanisms to reach out to them. And the same way, Einstein STO, if we want to send an email and before sending an email, we want to determine the send time optimization, the best time to send the email to a particular contact, then we would include this step. Similarly, the scoring split and the frequency split as well. For example, I'll just use the scoring split. So when we use this scoring split, we can define the personas. Let's say the personas, we can say the loyalist or the window shoppers. If somebody is a loyalist and a window shopper, I have these steps. If it is a window shopper, I will send one version of the email which says, this is your promo code. You can use this on your next purchase. So that would encourage them to make the purchase. And if they are loyalists, then I could send them some more product recommendations or something. So we could personalize their communications depending on their persona status as well. And in here, we have different options as well. Right now, we have chosen the persona, and we can also choose how we want to, if they are opening or not, the clicks, how engaged they are with the clicks and unsubscribe. So we can use different scenarios, and the channel also we can set this here. And these wait activities that we have seen, the different types of wait activities. So this is the wait by duration activity that comes by default. But if you want to have something wait until date or wait by attribute or until event or the chat response, we can use them here. And wait until push engagement. I believe this is when we receive some push notification. I don't know, I'm not aware of this one. So I think this is something related to the mobile push notification. And random split is when we just want to split the contacts coming in into different random paths, or randomly split them and send them different communications. And here's the path optimizer. So in the path optimizer, we can set different path here, different set of activities. So before that, let me go and define a different path. So in the first path, I will send the email and wait and send another email. And in the second path, I will send the email and wait maybe for 1 week and then send an SMS message. In the path optimizer, I can select what percentage is going through the first path and what percentage is going through the second path, and how I want to check the winner path. So I can set it here depending on the email engagement or manual selection. I can set this here. So if the open rate is higher, then it can be chosen as the winning path. And we can also set how many days we have to monitor. So we can have this active routing through different paths for 1 week or 1 month, and then determine the winning path. And once the winning path is evaluated, the losing path, let's say this is the losing path and this is the winning path, this will be shut off, and all the contacts further flowing in, getting into this journey will be routed through the winning path alone. So this will not be functional after the winner is chosen. And if we want to hold any of the contacts and then only after selecting the winning path, we want to let them flow through these steps, we can set this here. This is all related to the path of settings here to different paths. So these are the different flow activities, and we have this update contact. So when we have the data extension mapped and we want to update some value in the data extension, you can go to that any of the data extensions and then pick the attribute value here. So from the data extension, maybe we want to change the event name or the event status to something else, we can set it here. And these activities are all related to the CRM, Sales Cloud, or the Service Cloud. We want to create a lead or convert a lead. We can include all these activities. So now let's go back to the deck. Now coming back to the journey schedule. So we have created the journey, and then next step is to determine the cadence of the journey, when we want the journey to kick off, and also how often we want the journey to run. So this is the schedule type, run once or recurring. Run once is when we just want to have the journey. Let's say an event is coming, we want to send out an email on day 1 and on day 7. So, and once we are done with that event, we no longer want to have any contacts entering the journey. We are done with the journey. We no longer want to have the journey active. So then we will say run once, and then whoever is signing up for that event, they will come in. They will be injected into the journey. They will be sent the email in the day 1 and day 7, and they will exit out of the journey, and they will be done. And recurring is when we want the journey to run regularly. So every day or daily, or we have this cadence set here, hourly or daily or weekdays, weekly, monthly, yearly. So the journey keeps running, and whoever contact is entering the journey, they will keep continuing going through the paths of the journey, and when they exit, they will go out of the journey, and any new contacts coming into the journey, they will continue with the next steps within the journey. Then example could be a welcome journey. So whenever somebody signs up for some product interest or signs up for something, then they could be entered into this welcome journey. And once they receive a series of communications, they will be exited from the journey, but the journey can still keep running hourly or daily, and whenever it runs, it keeps injecting new contacts who are signing up, and it sends them the regular communications, and they flow through the different activities, different steps within the journey. And when we schedule the journey, we can determine whether we want to run the journey immediately, or we want to specify a schedule that at a specific date and time. We can do that. And when we have this recurring schedule, we want the journey to continuously run depending on a cadence. And we can also set the contact evaluation, how we want to have the contacts enter the journey. So let's say we have the data extension as the entry criteria, and there are 100 records. And if we want to, when the journey kicks off, we want to include all the 100 records already present in the data extension, or we want to only inject the customers who contact records who gets added after the journey has been activated. So 101, 102, 103 onwards, they will be only injected into the journey. If we say evaluate new records only. So only the contacts who are created in the data extension after the journey has been activated, they will be entered into the journey. When we select evaluate all records, then all the existing records in the data extension, they will be injected into the journey. Let's look at this configuration in the journey builder. So I have this data extension mapped as the entry criteria. I edit it, and here's where I can choose a different data extension. And these are the filter criteria if I want to filter any of these. And under the schedule, I have this run once. So I only want to run this once, but I want to do it immediately or at a specific date and time. I can specify the date and time here. But if I want to change it to recurring, then I can set the schedule when I want this to start from next week, and then the time zone, and I want it to run every day. And if I want to end after 10 occurrences or after some date when the event ends or the campaign ends, I can specify the date as well. And also, if I want this journey to continuously run, then I can say never. And the contact evaluation, I can say evaluate new records only, or the records only that are created after the activation of this journey, or evaluate all records that the contacts that are already present in the data extension also will enter into this journey. I set this one, and we have another schedule type, which is automation. So when we have an automation running, and whenever that automation finishes, we want them to flow into a journey, then we select this automation. So basically, we will create this step. Now, this step will also be visible in the automation that we create. So as the next step will be the journey builder entry. So let's say we have an SQL activity running in the automation, and whenever the SQL activity finishes and it updates the data extension, right after we want to invoke this journey, then we can select this as a step. So I don't have many automations that are created on this demo arc. So I am selecting whatever automation that is present in here. So I could select any of the automations that are present. And when I go back to this particular automation in the automation builder, I would see this journey step also included on that particular automation. I can also define the entry criteria. I think in the automation studio session, it will be covered. And this is the schedule and the entry setup. And we have this toolbar here. This is to undo any activity and redo any activity that we have done. Maybe we just pulled something and we want to undo this one. We can use this undo and redo. And this sidebar on the left, if you want to toggle it, you can do this using this one. And this is the copy activity. I will create more. Let's say I have particular steps that are created, and I want to reuse the same set of steps in the journey. Then I can copy a set of steps and use them. So I will create a set of steps in here. After 1 day wait, I will use the engagements split. So I have this set of steps that are created, and I want to use the same set of steps at a later point, at another point in the journey. So I can copy this set of steps. So for that, I will go and say copy activity and select all the activities that I want to copy. Okay, these are the set of activities that I have copied. So copy selection. And then I see on the left pane, I see this copied activities in here. So I want to bring all this one in the step 2. So I have the same step of activities. So in a journey, there may be sometimes that we want to route them through different paths, but they all go through the same set of activities. There could be sometimes that we want to do the same things in different paths as well. In those cases, we copy this selected activities and then pull them in whenever and wherever that we want to include them. So the same set of activities will be copied again and again. And this is the goal criteria where we set I don't have any good data to show here. This is all just random data, the test data. I can dig in here. I can look for some attribute data that exist, that maybe like a membership status. So if the contact membership has changed from silver to gold and gold to platinum, so when they change their status to platinum, I don't want to include them in this journey. So what I can say is I can set this goal filter criteria. I can set this also the exit criteria. So whenever they change their status to platinum, then they will be exited from this journey. And also they can be measured against the goal, the performance of this journey. So we can set this here. So if I could find some relevant information, I would set this up. And the goal would be, I want 10 total people to sign up from the national team. I can set the goal here, and there are two ways that we can do. I want to check the total number of people or the total percentage of the population. Let's say if 100 contacts are entering, then 10%, it will check for the 10%, and it will measure the performance against those attributes that are set. And if we want to exit the contacts who have reached this, then we can set this exit option. We can say 10 people, and I have set this filter criteria. If the region equals national, then those people will be exited from the journey and they will be measured against the goal performance. And this is exit criteria. If we don't want to measure the performance, just want to exit them, then we can set this exit criteria. We just name this, and everything will be the same as the way that we set up in the goal criteria. And we have these journey settings. This is also something important. So whenever we are creating a journey, so there are different ways that we want to allow the contact to enter the journey. So let's say a contact has already entered a journey and we no longer want them to re-enter the journey. Let's say they have already signed up for some program and that's the only program that is running, and we don't want them to enter the program again and again, even though if they sign up, then we can say no re-entry. The journey will no longer enter the same journey again. Re-entry anytime is when we want the contacts to enter the journey again. Like the example could be in purchase. If they have done a purchase and we are sending an order confirmation email, then they can enter as many times as they do the purchase. They have done one purchase on day one, they will enter the journey, so they will receive further communications. And when they are still in the journey, if they make another purchase, they will re-enter the journey again, and they will be sent the specific information about that second purchase. And re-entry only after exiting. And let's say we have a campaign running, maybe like sending them promo codes, and we don't want to send them too many promo codes, just one, and only after they exit the journey we may want to send them, involve them in the journey, then we would set this re-entry only after exiting the journey, then they can enter this one. And these this is the way we set the email attributes, if they can be used from the entry source. Here in this example we have used the data extension. So the email attribute can be used from the data extension or from the contact builder. If we have the attribute group mapped in the contact builder, so the email address from the contact builder will be used. Similarly, the mobile number, if we have the mobile number in the entry source, we want to use it, then we would select this option. If not, if we want to use it from the contact builder, we would use this option. And if we have the Google Analytics linked, then we would track all this engagement from this journey using the Google Analytics tracking. You can set this option here. And in here, we see a list of all the data that is coming in, the journey data and the contact data. There is a difference between these journey data and the contact data. Journey data is the data that we map as an entry source. So whenever a contact enters the journey, all the attributes, let's say the contact has, in the data extension, the contact has the email, first name, last name, region, event, and organization. So the journey builder will make a static copy of this data. And even though the contact is in the journey, stays in the journey for 100 days or 300 days, this data wouldn't change. It will be a static copy within the journey. But if we want to have the data dynamic, let's say they have moved their region, the region value changes, and we want to use the latest region in the journey. So in that case, we cannot use the journey data. We have to use the contact data. Contact data is the dynamic data. And if we want to use some data values in the journey that keeps changing, let's say the membership status. So when they join as a gold member, and as we keep sending some regular communications, they're more engaged and they have signed up for the next level of membership, their membership data changes. And then depending on their membership data, if we want to include a decision split and then exit them out of the journey or send them some different kind of communications, we need to have that dynamic data within the journey. So in that case, we would map that data in the contact builder and use that data. So that is referred as the contact data. And journey data is referred to something which comes as a data entry source from the data extension or from other data entry sources that we have seen before. So that is referred to as the journey data. And contact data is something which is mapped in the attribute data model in the contact data, in the contact builder. Let's go back to the deck. So these are all the different schedule types we have seen, and we have also seen the different toolbars and settings. And in here, I will show these ones and the journey versions. Okay. So we have this journey created, and before we enable this journey, we kick off this journey, make it active, we can test this journey, means validate this journey. So the journey builder evaluates, it looks at certain features, whether they are completely configured or not. And then it suggests us what is the information that is missing in this journey. Let's say the email is not configured in here, and also the engagement split, it's not configured, and the update contact is not configured. So the journey build and the schedule also is not set. Data extension is set. So it evaluates all the different components that are involved within the journey and identifies whether this checks all the, this has all the needed information. So I will, for simplicity's sake, I will remove this one and keep it simple. So I have this email activity, which is not configured. And now I try to validate this one. So it right away says that entry source, this data extension is not set, and the email is not configured here. It's not mapped, and set values for entry mode. In the section here, I didn't check how I want to have the contacts enter. So this lists all the things that I am missing. So here I will go and select the data extension. Select any data extension just for the demo purpose. So the schedule also, maybe I will go with run once. Okay, and the email, I will select the existing email. If I want, I can create a new email as well. Now I will select the message. The welcome email. And done. And now I try to validate, but then I'm not done with the settings here. So I can edit from here itself. Under the setting, I can say no re-entry. and done. So I revalidate, it passes, and when it validates and it's all clear, then I can test this journey. So I can select up to 10 contact records, and then we'll remove this. So after I validate and it goes through, I can test the journey here. This test, it will be enabled. So for that, I can select up to 10 contacts and see how they are flowing through. If there are different paths, I can see their paths, and also what steps are they taking. These things, I can choose these contacts from the data extension, so on, test it. Start test, it will take some time, and it will show the different paths that they go through. And I can activate this one. And once I activate this journey, so it is I can stop. And if I want to make any changes to this one, I can no longer change this one. So I have to create a new version. So I create a new version, and then version 2 will be created, and then only I will be able to edit this one. And I can check all the journey analytics and journey history, how it ran. Settings. If I want to copy this journey, then I can copy this one, delete this version, or the delete whole journey. I can set all these things here. And for the pause, I can pause this particular version or all the versions that exist, or stop the version. If I stop the journey, then all the contacts that are in the journey at different steps, they will be exited out of the journey. And when we pause a journey, we do have the option to define how many days we want to pause that journey for. And then after a wait of some certain days, we can automatically resume the journey. And using this option, we would be able to look at the goal attainment and how many contacts have reached the goal. And when we key in a certain contact, some certain value in here, we would be able to see their path. So let's say I have keyed in some contact key. This is the contact key, and we would be able to see what stage, what step they are in, what path they have followed. And if you want to remove them from the journey also, we could remove them from here. Goal and exit criteria we have seen, and copy activity, and say copy a template. We can save this journey as a template and use it to create another journey which looks similar to this journey. And we can copy a journey and create another journey. And we have this copy activity where we have made a copy of different activities and pasted them in the different path. Journey analytics. So when we are done, we can look at the journey analytics. I think we have seen it here. We can go here and look at how the journey has done, because we haven't sent anything yet. So there is nothing visible on this one. But if the journey is active and running, and we can look at all the analytics data, how many sends were, how many were sent, any clicks, opens, and subscribes, all this information can be seen here. Here are the examples, and I think that is all. We have covered the demo part as well. I know it's a long session, but there is a lot to cover, and we just touched the surface of the journey builder. So there is more advanced in the journey builder as well, where we can create some custom activities. So in the journey, when we are creating a journey, we have dragged and dropped some activities which are pre-existing. But if you want to create some activities which maybe like interacting with external websites or anything that we want to do, we can create them as the custom activities and include them, and we can include them within the journeys. So that could be an advanced topic, so that is not covered in this one. So for now, I will pause and let's see if we have any questions.